What's up, everybody? You all know I love the outdoors. I like being on my bike. I like going snowboarding. I love to do things outside with my kids. Now, one of my favorite stores to buy equipment for these kind of activities is Scheels. Scheels is an awesome place. If you've never been to Scheels, I really encourage you to stop in when you get a chance because it's an experience. My wife and I sometimes go there on date night just to walk around and look at stuff because it's so cool. Now, I thought it'd be interesting to dig into their plan, but let me give you a little history about Scheels because it's kind of fascinating. They actually started back in 1902. A German immigrant by the name of Friedrich Scheel, he started a potato farm and had a little bit of money, and he bought a store with that money on his first harvest. And it was kind of a general hardware store. What I thought was fascinating is Scheels went through this history of being in a hardware store, and they sold a lot of different goods, from appliances to hardware to other supplies to groceries. They sold it all.
I love food and stuff. It's where I buy all of my food. And most of my stuff.
And it wasn't until the 1980s when one of the younger generations, I think it was Steve Scheel, he decided we're going to focus a little more on sporting goods. And they started to do well with sporting goods. And it became something that he wanted to push, and they saw success with it, and they continued to make the store an experience. They continue to grow the size of their store. They opened their a really large 30,000 square foot store, and then they now have, I think, close to 300,000 square foot stores. And when you go into Scheels, you'll see there's very unique things in there. There's fish tanks, there's a Ferris wheel, there's a little mountain with, there's just all sorts of things that is really fun for kids to see and do, but they also have great stuff to buy. So I wanted to dig into their plan because they have one of the largest employee stock ownership plans in the country. They have great employees. And when you go there, you'll notice they are all so helpful. There's always someone, when you turn around, ready there to get you what you need. And I think that's a unique culture that they've built. And so I thought, let's dig into their 401k because they haven't really put as much emphasis on the 401k because they have the ESOP, which we're not going to dig into the ESOP today. That's not my specialty. I'm going to have a guest on to talk about that. But today, the 401k, I think, let's dig into some things because I found just some interesting parts to it. So let's jump into their 5,500. Now, I love to dig into 5,500s. I spend time just, on my free time looking at 5,500s, which is kind of nerdy. But they have a great person, Killoran, at the helm of their 401k. I think she's head of HR or finance. I'm not really sure. I need to look her up on LinkedIn. But they have over 5,000 employees, you see there. But only 1,200 of them are in the 401k. All right, so not a huge amount of activity of people wanting to contribute, probably because of the ESOP. Now, if you scroll down, you can see they've got a variety of different funds, but let's go right to the fees. They are using Bell Bank, and Bell Bank is receiving over $72,000 a year, last year in 2020 in fees. Now, I looked back a little further. Bell Bank has been involved, I think, since around 2011, 2012 is when they made the transition to Bell Bank, which is a local bank to where their headquarters are in Fargo, North Dakota. So there's probably a relationship thing there. It makes sense. Bell Bank is not a record keeper that I'm aware of. When I did some digging, I found that they'd been using Newport Group for record keeping, which, as you know, was acquired by Ascensus last year. So interesting. What I also found was that Bell Bank had been using their own proprietary funds, or CITs, it looks like. And when you scroll more into the 5,500, you can see, let's just go down to the fund list here. You'll be able to see that they've got a huge amount of assets in these Bell funds. Now, when I was digging into the Bell funds, I really couldn't find the actual holdings. And so everything I read said they were basically CITs, that they were holding different funds. So I'm curious to see if I can find out more information. It's kind of hard when you know that setup. However, the performance was there. The one thing that kind of caught my attention, though, was the fee structure. They're in the 60 to 65 basis points. I think their target rates were 63 basis points. And if you look at the fees, the $72,000 on a plan of $16 million, that's about 45 basis points that Bell Bank is taking. So it's over 1% of what Bell is receiving to provide the 401k services, basically all in one, right? They do have some outside funds, which was good to see. However, the larger bulk of the assets were the Bell's funds. So good plan altogether. I didn't see much of a contribution from Scheels themselves. And when I read online, there was some post that would say there was a match. I don't see it there. There's only $25,000 that went in from from Scheels in 2020. So I'm not really sure if there is a match. You can see right here that those numbers, there was participants putting over 2.2 million in, but Scheels only putting 25,000. I'm not sure if that was a profit share or some other metric. However, altogether, the performance of those funds was decent. The fees, I would say, are on the high side. It's probably time to take a look, since it's been close to a decade since they've changed providers of any kind, and with this new acquisition of Newport Group, might be a good time. Newport's also involved in the ESOPs, so there's probably some relationships there. However, the 401k definitely is not top of mind for most employees given the low participation rate, but I will not stop shopping there. I love Scheels. If you have a plan you want me to check out and are curious about, please let me know. I love doing this. Good luck, everybody. Have a good day.